So let me see your hand. Your hand. See how many do not know Hmong at all. Good. At least I have some feeling how many do not know. Not just you, many that I have taught to, even my co-worker in seminary. Some of them they say, what? What is Hmong? Because the Hmong was involved helping the United States, but secretly is not publicly what we help. So that's why. And the Hmong doesn't have a country that we are claiming that it's our country. So some of my friends come to me and I said, this is our country. This is our country too. Wherever you live, you respect that, you do whatever you do, help that country, and that becomes your country. So, so much on that. I'd like to thank you for your patience to work with the Hmong children, for those that have worked with the Hmong children. And I'd like to thank you to all of you that are working in the classroom through the years. I know it takes patience and courage to work with children through the years. Some lucky have a good children in the classroom and not ahead at all. Others hardly wait until summer. I know that. A little bit about my history. I graduated from St. Louis Seminary in 2005. I ordained, and I was called to Milwaukee, serving at Mount Hope for 1 year. Then I was called again to serve ministry in Redeemer Lutheran Church in Manitowoc. I just talked to Mai, and Mai heard about, but we haven't met yet. So if you have any question, you can talk to Mai, and also might be very good. If I cannot answer, Mai can also help me. Good. Again, let you know, I have a big family. I have 7 children, 3 boys and 4 girls. One of my oldest girl was born in July 4th. And my last boy was born on December 25th. I have 5 children that already graduated from high school, and they are in college right now. 2 still in high school. 1 boy that is going to graduate from Lincoln High School this summer. Then I have 1 more girl that will be graduating in the next 2 years. So I'm done as parents. And Mai tried to say something, so you laughed. Good. Last night, before I look at my speech right here, and my girl came and tell his mom and me that, Dad, I got 3 A's and 3 B this quarter, which is good. Thank you for you as teachers. You're doing well. Any student that's successful in the school is because you. Our home, we have a rule for our children to follow. And I'm sure that every good teacher have rule for their student to follow in the classroom. And further, I came to this country when I was 14 years old. I speak no English. I can tell what my story when the first day I went to school in a junior high. I went and sit in class, and my teacher put me right here, and his desk is right here. Right at the first hour, the bell rang. I did not know. Everybody left, and new group come. I look around, the first two persons that sit next to me, it's not the same person anymore. I said, what happened? And then he started to make his roll call again. And after he called everybody, my name is not there, so he looked at his sheet. Then my name is down there, so he called the office. Somebody from the office came and took me to the next class. And then the next class, I see the same chair right there, and then she sit right here. When the bell rang, everybody left. I still be in the same chair. So now the office assigned me a person, a student that took me around every room after the second period. I remember. So that's how hard it is when you speak no English at all, I tell you. Learning English, it is hard. The reason it is hard because English is not the same like Hmong or other language. You will see when I speak in my program tonight, that you say Hmong Lang, and then you say Hmong Tla, and then you say White Hmong, and then you say Hmong White. That's what the language is different. We turn around the adjective. The word is different. So you will see that tonight. Okay. Next, for the reason I sit right here every time, every class, because I speak no English at that time. And then from that first class, the first years, then the year after, every class, I want to sit in that chair. And then with that routine around, when I graduate and go to college, I sit at the same chair because I don't want to sit the back or back there. That's my chair. So when you teach a student, among students, wherever you put, usually they'll sit right there. For me, that's my SPM. Okay, so much about myself and so much about my SPM. Let's go to the slide that I have. This is a Hmong dress. If you don't see a Hmong dress like this, my no, will not be a Hmong. Hmong lady usually dress like this for New Year's special occasion, a special event in Laos and in Thailand, and also in China. That is Mrs. Miller. When I moved to Redeemer, we took the first picture for that New Year's. So every New Year's we dress like that for the weekend that the New Year is. Hmong from Laos come into Thailand refugee camp. That pictures, I got it from the internet, and these are some of the examples of the picture. I also got it from the internet. But those are the airplanes that our leader took the first couple flights free from Laos to Thailand. After the first couple of flights, then most of the Hmong walk and they march through the street. Then they put blockade on the street. Then the Hmong started to go to the jungle and fight whatever way they can cross the Mekong River to Thailand for the refugee camp. Here is the map. Who are the Hmong people? Either Chinese or Thai or Laos. No one truly knows where the Hmong people came from. Most theory of origination of Hmong is that they came from China, Siberia area. Believe that Hmong migrated from China to Laos, Thailand, Vietnam, and Burma. So those countries have Hmong people living there. Largest population of Hmong is located in China. History background of Hmong people. No written history of this group of people has ever been recorded. Knowledge of the beginning of the Hmong history are only known through old folk tales. Believed that Hmong people were once a powerful group of people in China, but were overthrown. After the loss of power in China, many of the Hmong people began to migrate across Eastern Asia, eventually settling in Laos, Vietnam. Some remain in southern China, where a large number of Hmong still live. More on background of Hmong people. Hmong people settle along the mountainous region of Vietnam, Laos, Thailand, just at the arrow I point out. They live in the mountains for many years in Vietnam, Laos, until the 1959, during the Vietnam War, which caused many of Hmong people to travel between the borders of Vietnam, Laos, and Thailand. During the same time, many traveled to the United States, just like the map. Hmong people's transition to the United States. Vietnam War began the migration of Hmong people into the United States in 1976. That is the first group that come to this country. During the war, the Hmong people in the mountain assisted the United States troops in the jungle of Laos. One, to protect the South while fighting on the Ho Chi Minh Trail, which is, you probably know. Two, helping injured U.S. pilots from battle. That flew, cannot go back to South Vietnam, but they had to fly west and jump and fall into Laos. So we saved those pilots. Three, we protect protecting the communication radar that put on the high mountain in Laos. So we protect that radar. So the U.S. can communicate from South Vietnam and to that radar. As a result of the Hmong people's aid to the U.S. troop, the Laos and the Vietnam government began to target the Hmong people of the mountain as enemy of the country. That's what it is. Which resulted in thousands of Hmong migrating across the borders into Thailand, into refugee camps, many of which were sent to the United States, but many Hmong still waiting in the jungle, funded in hopes of the return of General Vang Pao and the United States support. Because Vietnam War and the Hmong lady tried to put the story together. So Hmong Pan Dao have been used to tell the story of Hmong refugee to Thailand, cross the Mekong River, and sell to the world today. If you go to Thailand, Vietnam, you see all this Pan Dao, and there is no vocabulary translate the word Pan Dao, so English, French, and other, they use the same name. Pan Dao is needlework. Hmong, only two Hmong dialects. White Hmong, like I mentioned before, and which if you talk to the real Hmong, they will say Hmong white. And the other is, some people say green Hmong, blue Hmong. I say Leng Hmong or Hmong Leng. There are only two dialects. But there are also a group of Hmong people: white Hmong, black Hmong, green Hmong, flower Hmong, red Hmong, and striped Hmong, according to territory in Laos. In your folder, there is a sheet tell you about the clan. We have only 18 clans of Hmong. When we come to this country, the last name have been spelled wrong or different ways, as you see right here. Hmong last name usually spelled one syllable, one vowel. If their last name spell more than that, that is not Hmong anymore. Next, the reason my name you see it before I say Faivneng. Phai was a married name. I told my co-worker and my friend the word Phai means professional or old man or a man. That is the tradition, the culture of the Hmong. So my name, when I still young and still single, they call me Ning. And when, for the Hmong tradition and culture, if we call someone Ning or one Ning, that means he's still single and young. Only for a boy that still single and young. But the one that man that divorced will take the name, like I said, it's a professional or old name. So Okay, Hmong culture. Family is a very important part of Hmong culture. Hmong villages were made up of one family of many generations. Sometimes 2 to 3 generations of one family live in a single home. In each family, there would always be an elder, and he will be the leader of the family and also the oldest male relative of the family members. People usually would sit outside of their house to do work or greet guests. Hmong men, leaders of the family. When entering a house or room, men would greet one another with handshakes, greeting every man in the room, never shaking any woman's hand. Now it's changed. You can have questions later. Hmong women accepted to stay home and watch children. Never greeted men with handshakes. Help husband at farm. Taught to cook for the family at young age to prepare her life for marriage. Many marry between the age of 14 and 18. Also, at young age, girls are taught sewing of Hmong clothing and needlework. Hmong girls wear the traditional Hmong skirt, which, depending on the group of Hmong, will vary. Here is some of the pandao that Hmong started. This one is the beginning of Hmong's handmade pandao. Then they'll make to the bigger one, and then they'll make into clothing like that. And so, that's for women. That's why our women are so beautiful, might they know. This one, you'll never see this one, but this one is very important pandao for only the dead person before they're gonna bury them. They give one or two couple of this, depending on how many children they have. So this only used during funeral. That's why you don't see it. They wear this one, but you will see it when we have a Hmong fest around the state. You'll see they wear those or sell those, but this one you probably don't see it. And this one is very important for elder Hmong men or women who pass away and their children give to them. There are also many on that too. Pandao make history of the Hmong help on Vietnam War, and now in the market in Thailand, in Vietnam, in other countries, also in the internet that you can also buy from the internet. And I'll tell you more on that at the end. If you have any question along, please write down. We have question at the end. Hmong children were free to run around the village. Children were accepted to show respect to the elders. Education is very important in a child's life. Children were expected to attended school, which many children had to walk miles before reaching a local school. I did that, and I had that experience. Spiritual belief that everything has spirit. The devil is the enemy of the Hmong people, and he can make you do things that are wrong. He can also take control of a person if wanted to. Ancestral spirits have a part in protecting their family. Faith is a very important belief. Shamanism is an important way to protect someone and ask for help from the spirit. That's what shaman person do. Shamanism, a belief in the practice of animal sacrifice. Reincarnation is the focus. Spirit altar are made at the front wall of the living room. Charms such as wooden, knife, spirit paper, or branches of leaf are neither hung or taped to the door post for protection to prevent evil spirit from entering a home. Sickness is believed to be a spiritual significance and consequences. More on shamanism. Life after death is about suffering, facing starvation. A guide or tauke will perform a journey ritual to guide the dead to the place of their ancestor. Funeral services are long with lot of eating, grieving, and drinking. Hmong life is intertwined with physical and spiritual worlds. Here, Hmong in the camp to America. This I got it from the picture. I got it from the internet. When we come to the United States or to other country or third world, is we need to come by ship or by airplane. And that is the example. Okay, concern and misconception about America. Maybe might agree, may not agree. But this is what most the Hmong people put and write it down. Hmong will lost their language, culture, and belief. Too much freedom for people to take advantage of. Too open for people to do bad things. High divorce and single parents, which never happened to the Hmong people. Children does not respect elder as back then. Hmong culture versus American culture. This is what Hmong believe. Very similar to the Old Testament. Those who go to church probably know the Old Testament, but the Hmong people that don't go to church probably don't know. But for most of you know what Old Testament are. High respect for Hmong, for non-Hmong. Food and drink will always be offered to guests. Hmong people always put their best toward when dealing with guests. Men and women are viewed differently. Many Hmong people may not look direct into a person's eye when speaking to. Yes could mean no and vice versa. America, see if you agree with me for the Hmong view. Very diverse with a mixture of many different cultures. Everyone is equal. Ask and you will get. Be the best you can be. Women are taught that they are equal to men. Taught to look directly at someone when you're speaking to. Very forward about yes and no. Be more assertive in this country. Family dynamic in America. Family is still a very important part of the Hmong culture. Increasing single-family lifestyle is begin to accepting. Hmong people become more Americanized, more assertive, more education on technology. Hope that elders can stay with children as long as they can. All families see an opportunity for them. There is a dream for everyone striving for it. American work versus homeland. Most Hmong people work in the factory in this country. Most adults drive to work and school. Go to the grocery store, I made a mistake right there, and shopping center. Back then, most Hmong were farmers before coming to America. Travel 2 miles or 4 miles to different parts of the mountain just for farming. Grew corn, rice, and opium, raises animals for food, and pull heavy things. That's why when they go drive to the farm and they feel so relaxed. Racial prejudice in America. Hmong people like to stick together due to their common heritage. Most Hmong people marry other Hmong people, but a few married outside. Ken and I, we talk about this when we drive together. Hmong people do not like to call Thai, Lao, Korean, Vietnam. Cultural isolation. Hmong people like to stick together. Did I say that? They try to stick together because of their common culture, and those Hmong who stick together have more knowledge of their culture background. Most Hmong parents want their children to marry other Hmong children, which most do, but some don't. Common misconception. The word Hmong sounds like monk or Hmong. So some people assuming that Hmong people are Mongolian. Many misconceptions also are that Hmong people are either Thai or Lao, but they are not. Hmong culture are closer related to the Chinese culture. Hmong people do not like being identified as Thai, Lao, or Chinese unless they are Chinese Hmong. Hmong people are Hmong. Working in America. Most Hmong people work in factory jobs. Some Hmong who are well educated work in other field of work. As the internet show, last year, the year before, the statistic is that 1976 we only have one Hmong doctors, and last years statistics show that Hmong have 388 doctors, medical doctors and PhD in this country. Learning English. Old generation of Hmong people do not speak much English, although many know some word. Most do not speak the English language. Younger generation can speak the English language fluently as they were taught in school and educated in English. New generation of children speak mainly English. As the younger generation is being brought up in America, they begin to speak less Hmong and more English. The English language is very different from the Hmong language with its structuring of sentences and usage of different tone, which is why old generation of Hmong people have a harder time at speaking the language. Education and Hmong children. Most Hmong children now speak less Hmong ever before. Although, did I say? They speak less Hmong and they still expect to get well educated. Most parents expect their children to do better in America than themselves, which I do that too. Because unless in Thailand or Laos, they have the chance in America which their parents didn't. Most Hmong parents want their children to be doctors or lawyers, which some do, but most don't. Many of the Hmong children do well in school, but some children don't. Like most children, those that drop out are influenced by their peers and drop out or are not encouraged to attend school. There is a bad apple in every tree. My son, I drive my son every morning to school. And then he said, we talk about going to school, and my son said, Dad, you were 30 years ago. Your school is easy. My school is hard. You believe that's true? And I told my son that, do you know, I want you to think very well. My generation teach your generation. And who gets smart? I teach you, and you get smart. That means you're not smarter than I do. Right? And we once in a while we argue. My daughter too. They said, you are old generation. You don't know much. Those who have children, you know. This is a conclusion. Some Hmong families are still set on the old way, which can cause problems for their children. Some teens still marry young because of the Hmong tradition. The younger Hmong generation is much more different than the older generation. The Hmong culture is slowly changing. Some Hmong families still believe in shamanism. Although Hmong families have changed, the practice of the Hmong marriage still remains strong. Many other Hmong families have become Christian, such as me, and many had become Christian. So I skipped that. Such as for those who working with Hmong children. Most Hmong parents do not understand the school system well. Most Hmong parents will not respond to letters sent to parents for parents-teacher conferences unless they receive a call from a teacher to attend. Teachers should inform the parents of the Hmong student on how to help their children in school and how to be updated on what is happening in school. Here is back to the custom pictures. A lady from our church, and the way at the end is my wife. So I can show you my wife. School and Hmong parents. Hmong teacher needed in the school system that have more Hmong students because the Hmong teacher can communicate with the Hmong children's parents better. And Hmong aides in the school is also needed because discipline is different. School board needed Hmong representative. Religion is also important. Questions?
Lao and Hmong are two different languages?
Yes.
You understand each one?
Yes.
You need to use each. Okay.
Yes. Laos is like English and Hmong is like Spanish. So when we went to school in Laos, we learned Laos. Okay, any other questions?
In Manitowoc, the Yang family just lost their two boys, and they had the funerals and they had them separate. Can you explain more in depth? I understand it's probably from the shamanism belief, but the family was Christian, yet they honored the shamanism part of their culture as well.
Right. That funeral, many of you probably don't know. You probably see the newspaper. Again, I thank you for Manitowoc Public School and especially Jackson School to help contribute that, do a fundraise to help the two funeral. But the reason of that funeral, that two funeral, is because Christian, we change, we can do it. But the Hmong culture and tradition, there is a myth go around that if two persons die at the same time and you did the funeral at the same time, then that will be a routine for the next death. The next time have funeral will continue happen, and they prevent to do separate funeral because they doesn't want to see that happen again.
So they're afraid that the two will die forever together?
Yes. So that's why.
So kind of reincarnation, like if they're in another life.
So and I told them that we are Christian, so don't worry about that. And they say no, and they have an elder, they have a leader, and then the Hmong people in every city, in every state that have Hmong people, they have a leader for the clan leader. And as a teacher, for your information, even though I am their pastor, I still need to know that is the Yang have a leader. And then because the Yang, they organize themselves, and then they can talk to their own cousin, relative, and then they'll will agree to what they do. That is make different from the funeral. When it comes to funeral, when it comes to wedding, there are the two things that Hmong like to keep, and Hmong like to practice that. Had to do with go through the clan leader. Even 3 families in a city, one had to be the leader. And they respect each other that way. So that's why the funeral cannot do into one.
How is it determined who's the leader?
Well, it determined by education. It determined by how old the person is. If there are 3, one must be the oldest one, and one must be the youngest one. And then they'll turn around. If the youngest one is more educated, then he can be the leader. But usually they go with the older one. Yes. So that's what happened in some case in Milwaukee. That happened, and they asked the police that can the leader of the clan came and said, can I go inside and talk to the man? And police said no. And police had to stop that, and then they shot the man. And that was made the case difficult to handle than police officer handle. For the Hmong people, even though I interviewed before I gave this speech to you. I interviewed a number of elders, and they say for the Hmong people, if you found out that there is case, then to solve the problem, you need to talk to the clan leader. He pretty well able to solve the problem. He willing to risk his life to solve the problem, then give it to the PO. If you see it, I like to see cowboy movie when I first come to this country. Cowboy is my favorite. Clint Eastwood is my favorite. And there is a couple of movies that he did. And when the PO cannot solve the problem, he break through the door, he go in and he talk to the guy, and the problem was solved. But if we go with weapon, which is today technology so good that we can shoot papers to the house or other things, and we can go arrest the case. But we prefer that the leader can also do better than just shoot those and go arrest, because we don't know what the person inside has. It can have a big bomb, it can have other things. Yeah. Okay, if you have this sheet, okay, you don't, then I can tell you. The Hmong people have,
That's the way to do it.
yeah, the Hmong people have 6 generation that the Hmong people is, what do we call? Let me see, what do we call? Okay, the Hmong people have a 6 generation that we call like great-grandfather, grandparents, parents, children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. However, the Hmong have very nice vocabulary for all these generation. Example, might know. The Hmong people come to this country, we very confused with the word in-law. You know, when I say my in-law, you cannot tell. Either in-law, your daughter-in-law, your son-in-law, or mother-in-law, and the son-in-law and which side. Now, just talk about the son-in-law is which side? Is the mother's side or the other side? Hmong have a unique vocabulary that when you call that vocabulary, you automatically know that is from the mother's side or the father's side or the sister's side or the, yeah. So it's unique. Example, if my sister's husband, I would say Yi. Yi, that means automatically tell me or tell everybody that is my sister's husband. And if my mother call my sister's husband, she will call Vao. That is automatic tell that is just that position can call that. And if we come to learn English and we say in-law, then you have to ask which side. Do you have that? Sometimes confused? Yeah. You say in-law, then I would say, is it, yeah. So that is part of the confusion. But that is unique what we have for the Hmong language. Okay. Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
What do you tell your daughters as far as equality between men and women in this day and age where you are right now? Do you go by the old ways, or would you advise them to shake the hand of a male, or what do you tell your daughters?
Well, I am more Americanized, and I accept that we are more modernized.
Okay.
Usually, we don't hug each other. And my daughter came to visit, and she hugged me before she left to Milwaukee, or she hugged me before she leave to Milwaukee. And my daughter-in-law will come and hug my wife, and usually that never happened. But now we kind of accept it, just like birthday. I told my children that if you talk about a true birthday, then I am a liar. You know why I say that? Nobody know my real birthday. I make up my birthday, come to this country, I make up my birthday and go to school. And nobody know exactly my real birthday is. So if I tell you that my birthday is August 4, 1964, I don't know, and I accept that, but I have no way to know. Yes, there you go. Okay, you have questions.
Yes, I had a question about marriages, if they marry outside of their group, their clan, or whatever. How is that, what happens within the families? Are they like angry? Are they pushed out of the family, excommunicated, whatever?
Well, if you go to church, the Hmong people usually pretty similar to what the Bible, and they prefer to marry to the person that the group or the people that you like to, but what you think never happen what you want. So if we have seen number of cases that happen, and both of them run away, commit suicide in Laos. So we have cases like that. So we kind of open say, now we don't want to see. We cannot break love. If they love each other very much, we need to accept it, or we cannot break them, and might have consequences that we have to deal with. So now beginning to accept it. Yeah.
You mentioned a number of ways that the Hmong people have had to adapt to the American culture. Are these Hmong populations seeing teenage pregnancies amongst their daughters, or have you not seen that yet?
No. Yes. No. The reason I say that, Hmong have a unique culture that when a girl, my may not agree, but she agree. Hmong have a unique culture that if the boy make the girl pregnant, they have to marry, no matter they love each other or not. The baby need the father, and the baby need the mother. That was practiced not just in this country, but back in China, Laos, and Thailand. And that usually happened, and we did that. That's why there is no divorce, because the two sides make the two. Example, if the mothers and the father's son, the mother and the father, the wife's son, they both agree, they force and they make, then the marriage stays strong. If the parents don't work together, usually the marriage it's not strong.
Do you have prearranged marriages?
Yes.
Can you explain the marriage,
Like, what the parents and the bride and the groom have to do? I find that I've heard the story, I've heard with it.
Yeah, on your handout, I did give you something that the bride, usually the groom parents and the groom pay for all the wedding. And all donation from that wedding is all go to the groom. And that can be some donation money and utensil, other things that belong to their family, belong to the two young couple. So the parents on the groom side pay for everything. The bride just waiting and to celebrate. And that is different from America. Yes. Yeah.
has that changed now in America?
No, not changed yet. But we do when a person marry outside. We talk about outside. If we have a daughter, if we have a son that marry an Anglo or other, we'll go along with what mother night is. So it depends. Say, well, they'll take care of the wedding. We'll do that. We help whatever we can, but we'll do that. So we can change a little bit, but within the Hmong, no. The groom side still pay for everything, right, Mike? Yes. So
How long do your marriages last? If your funerals go for days, right?
yeah.
They can. How long are the weddings?
Wedding is usually one. Well, now we kind of change too. Usually 1 day and 1 night. But now we kind of change, and we can be couple of hours. And the difference between wedding is we have on your vocabulary. Now I ask you to look at your vocabulary sheet. Okay. What did I do? Okay. On your vocabulary sheet is that we go according to okay. Okay, we're going according to yeah. Okay, there you go. We go according to the dowry, which is number 6. And the price of the bride is pretty high. That's the price is right now in the state of Wisconsin is $5,800. And plus, yes, they had to. That is including the animal. Yes, the 800 is including the animal. And then, so the groom had to pay for the bride. Many may not agree, but the Hmong still practice because this is what makes the man felt that the man is ownership of the woman, and he must love it. Otherwise, the wife's side parents and relatives say, you pay so much, and then we have your money, but we still hold on to your marriage. And then they have something to say. And then if the husband doesn't like the wife, then the other side have something to say and to hold on to it. So the price is to keep the wedding stronger. Example, when I marry, my wedding is very cheap because we are new to this country. I married in 1982, and my wedding is only $800. That's including the animal, including the cost. They keep raising the price. They keep raising the price. So now today's girls are more expensive. But the reason is that the party is bigger. Okay, the party is bigger. Manitowoc, they have over 2,000 Hmong, and the parent of the bride like to invite everybody to join. And when they come, they are more Americanized, so that when they come, they bring gift. And that the more the bride parents invite people to visit, the more gift the couple has.
You feed them all?
Yes. So food is not problem. When a wedding, you as a teacher can go attend it. Food is not problem for the Hmong at all. They are make more than enough for everybody. Right, Mai? Yes. So, yes.
Can a man have more than one wife?
In this country, no. Back Laos, yes. The reason, back in Laos, we practice polygamy according to the vocabulary I gave to you is that, like I said, when a man who marry have still make some girl or woman have a pregnancy, that we cannot break that. And the only thing we can is to make them marry, so the man had to have two wives. But in this country, no. Because there is law, and that is not legal. So no polygamy practice in this country, but the danger is that this country, there is a law like that, but people still have girlfriend. That is more worse than the Hmong's culture. You believe that? And yes.
I was just curious, do the women ever have more than one husband? Does it go the...
No. No. That never. I have never seen one, and never.
I had a little girl come to school one day, and she was so excited. Her mom had a baby, and she told me about a chicken. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay, is that spiritual or?
Yeah, they're going to have through a party. That is shamanism, or shaman thing that they do. They say that every baby that born to a family have a soul. Then they need to welcome the soul to the family. So that's why they talk about that.
Does the Hmong, or do the Hmong have a belief when the baby is born, there's no visitation, or, we have a person who works in our school, they're in the duplex, the mother-in-law and father-in-law, don't know if it's husband's parents or her parents, that live next door in the same building, but there was something about they couldn't come over to visit at their house. She could bring the baby over to them to visit, but they couldn't come into her home.
Yes, there are two things. There are two things right in there. One, if the mother do breastfeeding, then you cannot go visit and wear black shoe like this because the mother may not have the milk to feed the child. The other thing is that you, as the mother who just have the baby, you are unclean to go to somebody's home. That's the two things that the Hmong shamanism believe, and they still practice.
And how long of a period is that before?
30 days. Yes, 30 days.
So would that be offensive if a student of ours said that their mom had a baby? We should respect the fact that for 30 days we could not go and visit, or
Yes and no. Like I said, we are in this country. We are open to American or Anglo or other teachers to visit. But just for the Hmong, among the Hmong that still practice their belief.
so they would allow an Anglo to come visit because we aren't. We
Yeah,
don't understand.
yes and no. Some they say yes, some they say no. So
So we should always ask.
yes. Yes. Questions? Okay.
Did you have help in learning English, or did you just kind of pick it up on your own? Did you have a teacher or a mentor or anyone?
I can tell you my experience. I went to school in this country. I struggled through high school and college. But I thank you for teachers that put up with me through high school and through college. That's what I say. Always sit in the front. My teacher allowed me to go after school, before class, and help. And almost every subject that I have, I went, and my teacher is kind enough. Now I'm going to tell my secret. My teacher is kind enough that because you are Hmong or you are a refugee, and that time I still refugee. So he or she will say, I know you come to school every day, your attendance is perfect, and you want to learn. So I have many different teachers helping me many different ways. Some teachers, they will say, I will do tests with you after school. I will let you do open books. You know what, open books is harder than a test that you do very quick. And I have teachers that give me the opportunity to do open books. I have teachers that give me the opportunity to redo the test and see if I take home test and do it and bring to school. I still don't get an A. Believe me. Even I take home exam, I don't get A. Because when you have problem with the language, you just cannot find the answer. So I have many different teachers that help me through. And some teachers know that I cannot get A or get good grade for my test. They'll give me a good grade for 82. And attendance, that will help me bring to a sea. See, this country, it is education and opportunity. I tell you as a teacher, and I experience it, and I know. I was a good student in Laos. I was a student in Laos, but when I in this country, the language is a barrier for me. So that is different. Thank you for your question. That is very good because many people don't know. When I told my story to my kid. Sometimes I cry and my kids say, "Dad, we know you go through so much." Sometimes when I cry or my tear drop, with that, it encourage my kid to study harder and make them study harder and put more potential to it. As other Hmong parents, different. They don't have experience in school. They don't have story to tell, and their children may not have the same attitude, same story what my children have. So it is good. Good questions. Culturally gap for the Hmong people in America. For the older generation of Hmong people, life in America can be a terrible and lonely journey. They are far from their homeland, far from the good agrarian life in beautiful health of Laos. They have suffered the ravage of war and loss, and now live in a strange country with strange value and a language that they will never learn. The pain has been too great. Some of them stare out the window and remember the past. They mourn for their loss, for their lonely separation from their home. Others are trying hard to adapt, to learn new ways and deal with a new culture and language. But they still have their culture that give them identify. That spells out many steps for them in life. American who don't respect Hmong culture may find it weird and primitive, but it's no more weird than American culture. Unfortunately, there are aspects of Hmong culture that crash sharply with American ways and sometimes American law. Both Hmong and the rest of us in America need to understand these differences if we are to work together. This is a quote, and I'm quote from Jeff Lindsay for my conclusion. Thank you.
Become more Americanized, that you're going to lose everything that was the whole culture.
I agree. There will be, I study and I am a pastor, so I know about German. German very strong group that come into this country, and even the Jews and other group too, even though they change. So I know that the Hmong will do the same, but will slowly change. So that's why in the beginning, I say, this is our country. If we put that, then we all help each other, support each other. We build this country in a better country.
I have a question about, you were talking about sicknesses, that it could be that in their beliefs that it looked as like a consequence and something else, like, I don't remember what you said. I remember the second part being consequence, but, so, like, what kind of consequences do they feel different illnesses?
Well,
Is certain illness a certain consequence?
Yes, yes. Example, if you have a daughter that pregnant and she walk across a brook, a river, a stream, and then after that she got sick as bleeding, she's gonna lose that pregnancy, that baby. And the Hmong myth will say, oh, because you're supposed to stay home and you're not supposed to go cross that. That is not good for a woman, a young man, a young woman like you to cross that. If you get sick by doing something, and the head on the mother, usually the mother, go to see the shaman, and the shaman will say, oh, because you don't forbid yourself for that many days, and you leave too early or you leave too late, and that make the devil to make you sick. So with that, it's a blame, it's a myth. And the other thing is that before you leave your house, if they have the shaman in their house, they usually put incense and burn in there, and they'll ask their ancestors' spirit to guide them a trip, a journey. So that's what the shaman do. We Christian, I teach my member to pray for any journey that you're gonna go, so God can protect you. And the shaman, they do the same thing, but instead of pray, they don't. They use that.
I've noticed that some of the kids wear these strings,
Mm-hmm.
and I think they have quite a few of them. What is that, a symbol?
That, for the shaman perspective, is that they try to tie the soul with the body. So they say that each person have a soul. They can leave the body and go play. So they tie that together.
It said on your video thing that the girls need to get married between the ages of 14 and 18. Do they still encourage that? I mean, the Hmongs here now in the United States, I wouldn't think they would, but I mean, do more traditional Hmong families, do they still encourage that?
I would say yes and no too. I have three daughters that is over 18, and the oldest one is 23. I share to Kim. She's not married yet, and I'm not encouraged. But the Hmong, my relative, my great-grandparents see it, they say, you need to get married because you're gonna be an old maid. Yeah, the older, they don't do that, right, Mai? And then with that, somebody encouraging, even I don't, or my wife doesn't. Somebody in the close relative will do that. So make sure that she have a husband. Make sure that he have a wife.
If somebody from your clan, her, would marry somebody from the Yang clan, which clan do they now belong to?
The man's
The man's family?
the man's family,
Okay.
and the girl's is cut. Yeah. For the Hmong, have a unit of trade generation. This can be part of, you understand too. For me, I still have a generation that they're still young, but I call them grandpa. Because from China to Laos and to Thailand, we trace whoever the first one, and their kid, their children, and then their children, and then their children through the man's side. And then that's how we trace our generation. And that is unique. In this country, the Hmong still do that, but I noticed that if we trace on the woman's side, sorry for most of you, I have said this one, but see if you agree to what I say. One Hmong elder told me that a woman is the soil, the ground. The woman is the soil. The man is the seed. So whatever seed you plant, the soil can be so good, but the seed will grow and be that tree or be that plant. So that's why the Hmong trace their generation through the man's side. Maybe many of you probably don't agree, but that's what the Hmong believe, and that's what the Hmong do. And that's why the her never marry a her, the yang never marry a yang, the hang never marry a hang. So they trace those generations through the man, so they believe that the seed is a cucumber, is always a cucumber, never change to be a corn or anything.
So if your daughter marries my son, you would then not have anything to do with her anymore?
Yes, I do, but the children will be your family.
And even if I am not Hmong,
Yes,
still?
yes.
Oh.
Because we believe that very strong. And you may take that to study to see if true. You can take a corn or a cucumber, go plant it to a ground, and you can observe it. So that's what the Hmong believe.
Would she have to pay you?
Huh?
Would she have to pay you?
Would her son have to pay you to marry your daughter?
Yeah.
Yes.
The 5,800.
That's why. Yeah. That's why you have to pay for me, because my daughter gonna be married you, and all the children will be yours. Yes.
But you still see him.
Yes.
Where would you have that wedding in Manitowoc?
Yes, I will invite you.
Are you encouraging now the older Hmong, are you encouraging them to now speak more English? I mean, so that they can understand the traditions? Because I know you have a Hmong center, which I think is great. Do the older ones go there to learn English and the different ways now?
Yes.
Oh, they do.
Yes. We do have a ESL. We do have a Hmong class and ESL to help everybody. Yes.
I had a question. A couple weeks ago in the paper, they had an article on the front page about in Thailand now that the government there does not want to have the Hmong people be listed as refugee status because they said the Vietnam War was over in 1973, and about they're trying to send people back into Laos and Thailand, not Thailand, Vietnam, and they're trying to fight it. I was just wondering if you have any information on that, and then how, like the people who are in these camps, what position are they in then? Can they only get here if relatives have enough money to get them to the United States? I was told they have to stay in the camps, that they can't go outside the camps. The government says this is the area you're in, kind of like the American Indians with a reservation here, is how I would compare it.
Yes, in Thailand right now, you're right. I know little bit about that because the Hmong is from the jungle and fighting the government. And then with that, the Lao government claim they are no more fighting, no more war in their country. So whenever they come to Thailand, Thai people would say, no more war, you are just doesn't like the government, you just flee, so we have to send you back, because Thai and Lao, they have an agreement between like the United States and Mexico, and then just send them back. But the United States and the UN need to know that the Hmong is in the mountain, and the Lao never has statistic all the Hmong people in the mountain. It's so mountain, so jungle, and they have no statistic, and they don't have those people's name until they across the border. And now in the mountain that I mentioned, in mountain Pati, that is very high mountain that even the Lao soldier is so scared to go. And then the Hmong live on those mountains, so they're still hiding and fighting. So not until they're more civilized and then they have everybody on record like the United States. I was amazed that we have everybody on Social Security, and whoever move, we know exactly that they are citizens. Those people in Laos, they move to Thailand. Do the Laos know that they are citizens? No, they don't. Okay, thank you very much.